Why, hello everybody, my name is Agent South, and welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna be reading a short, scary story, hopefully it's short, and it's called When the Black-Eyed Children Knock, and I'm gonna be trying to make it as scary as possible, so hope you guys enjoy. Okay, Chapter 1. 5 nights before I disappeared. Was that a knock? I'm awake in the dead of the night for the 7th or 8th night in a row. Hell, if I can remember how long it's been. The baby came only a few weeks ago. My insomnia should stem from him awake and crying. Should be. But no. Here I am, unable to sleep for no one's fault but my own in a house of exhausted people. Me, my girlfriend Nicole, our son. 2 words still new to me. Maybe that's why I'm up now, spooning chunky peanut butter straight from the jar, standing half naked in the kitchen in the desperate hope that I can induce a caloric coma. No such luck. And now a knock at the door, or so I think. I'm tired, that's all. No one's at the door at this hour. I listen for movement. Nothing. Ours is a small house built back in the Depression. The hardwood floors and the quiet neighborhood in the burbs sealed for the deal for the mortgage. You can hear everything, from the sparse basement to the second floor with the spare rooms. Nicole and the baby, planted in a bassinet, sleep in a bedroom I should be in right now off the great room that makes up the main floor. The great room includes a kitchen with an island that doubles as a dining space, where I prop myself up on one elbows and chew peanut butter like cud. So this is what our friends joked about. The complete, utter, transformative exhaustion of fresh parenthood and all the perks that come with it. The kind of exhaustion that makes you regret every time you've ever complained about feeling tired. The kind of exhaustion that doubles as a rite of passage and a pious benchmark for shutting down those who would dare compare owning a pet to having a baby. The kind of exhaustion that maybe, just maybe, short-circuits the part of your brain that actually tells it to sleep, along with the ability to tell what is and isn't a knock. Why am I still awake? Why aren't I in the bedroom next to Nicole and the baby? From the island in the kitchen, I gaze down the front door on the other side of the living room. There's an ornate glass oval in the center that lets in light from the silent street outside. I could open it right now and leave. It'd be better that way, for both of them. They say it can take time for the mother to bond with the child, especially after a traumatic birth like the one Nicole went through. Emergency C-section. Barely enough energy to care for herself now, let alone a newborn. That leaves me picking up the slack as she recovers, with no time for the on and off switch of parental exuberance like in the movies. I'm not asking for a pity party because we wanted this child. We planned for it. We did. But where's that we now? There's barely a me. I'm so tired I can't sleep. It's a cliche, but it's damn true. I'm not the same person I was back then. I focus on the front door and fantasize about stepping through it, how cool the fall air would feel on my skin, the items I'd pack, the note I'd leave. I'd send them money, sure. I'm not a complete asshole. But this isn't what I signed up for. No, sir. It's the worst kind of buyer's remorse, and I know that. But the hell if I know what to do with myself anymore. Hold out on the hope that I'll learn to love? Babies are supposed to bring out the best in a person, but our son did the opposite. Wait, was that a knock again? Stuffing the spoon back into the peanut butter, I walk to the front door. Even in the darkness of the room, I catch my reflection approaching that oval glass. White t-shirt, boxer shorts, and a melancholy of a pair of eyes I shouldn't recognize, but do. I want to yank that reflection out of its home in the glass pattern and strangle it, screaming, "Man up! Enough of this sad sack bullshit. You're a father now, so take care of your child and your girlfriend. They're counting on you. Too bad if you don't like it. You brought it on yourself. No one wants to hear your problems." At least I can pretend to be a man and check the door. Hell, that's half of the male world right there, constantly trying to prove it's worthy of that Y chromosome. It's no wonder I feel emasculated. There's no scoreboard for being a father, no competition, no gauge of masculinity. Just diapers and crying babies and doctor appointments and insomnia and gentle hands and no credit for any of it. Not like when I first met Nicole, back when it was all parties and alcohol and sex and cars and late nights and more sex. Easy to show the world how you're a man with those things. But now, reduced to peanut butter and stumbling through a dark living room in search of noises that may or may not be in your head? No thank you. I checked the front door and of course there's nothing there. Walking back through the kitchen, I twist the knob on the back door with similar results. The digital clock on the stove says something about it being 3 a.m., but my blurry eyes aren't sure. Was I really in the kitchen for 2 hours? It felt more like 5 minutes. I checked the peanut butter. There's a lot more missing than I remember eating. My throat should be jammed with the sticky stuff, but it feels fine. I gulp a glass of water to be sure. That's when I hear something else, and this time I'm positive it's not a knock. It's our son crying in the bedroom. Nicole stirs from beneath her blanket and says a faint, "Liam, honey, the baby," through the open door. Her stomach's muscles are still too torn up to get out of bed without help, let alone address a squirreling baby. I catch my reflection again in the oval glass of the front door as I walk to the bathroom. I look surprised at myself, as if I were saying, "What were you thinking? You weren't serious about leaving, were you?" A part of me wants to answer what I'm really thinking, but I can't. The baby needs a change, and my tired mind can't think of more than one thing at a time. After swapping out the diaper, I slip little mittens over his hands to keep him from unintentionally clawing at his eyes. Would he even know if I'd left? Sleep comes eventually, as it always does, but never soon enough. I barely have time to close my eyes before the alarm goes off. Time for work, time to get dressed, time to sit in a car for an hour in traffic, time to fake away sucking at my job ever since the baby was born, time to read company manifestos about finding work-life balance, time to thank my mother-in-law after I get home for coming over to help while I'm away, time to take a long shower and masturbate into a tissue, time to convince myself it's all worth it while a semi-conscious infant thanks me by peeing into my eye while I peel a rancid diaper from his skin. You think this is hard? Nicole went through something a million times worse. Shut the hell up. It'll get better soon. This is only a phase. I hope that's all this is because I'm starting to lose faith. Maybe a good night's sleep will help. Chapter 2. 4 nights before I disappear. I sit up in bed and stare in jealousy at my dozing girlfriend and content son. They say you should sleep when the baby sleeps, so I ought to be taking advantage of the silence. But my head has other plans, starting with an obsession about stepping outside the front door. I wouldn't even leave. I just want to see what it feels like to dip my toe in that freedom again. It's not like I couldn't come back inside if I needed to tend to the baby. My feet lead me to the kitchen first for a snack, but someone already beat me to the peanut butter. I spot the empty jar on the counter. Could have been me for all I know, up earlier in the night, or Nicole. She lived on the stuff in the first months of pregnancy, but she hasn't hit it hard since. I close the cupboard in the kitchen and shut off the stove light, the only source of illumination in the house. I'll feel my way to the front door. Don't want the light creeping through the open door of the bedroom. I'd normally rely on the street light coming through the glass oval to provide a little context to the obstacles in the living room, but it's out tonight for some reason. It makes the experience of unlocking the door and stepping out onto the stoop all the more exhilarating. Just dipping my toe into that freedom gives me a rush. The blank page of night spread out before me. Even the security lights on the houses that line the street across from me are out, boosting the effect. Must be an electrical issue on that side of the street, because a glance back at the digital clock on the stove in the kitchen still shows the time. My chest inhales deeply and takes in the fall night. The earthy aroma of decaying leaves takes me right back to autumns at the cabin, where I'd spend every fall of my life except this one. Nicole told me I should take some time and visit for a day if it would help my moodiness. She's no idiot, despite being incapacitated most of the time. She's noticed my hollow attempts to brush off accusations that I'm anything other than overjoyed at the arrival of her son. 'Cause that's how you're supposed to act, and Nicole can hold a grudge long after the C-section scars have healed. She's testing me, seeing if I'll take a step towards leaving her. So of course I turned the offer down. And yet here I am anyway, on the stoop, staring into the night, fantasizing about how alive I feel, with the cool wind dancing through the open windows while I cruise some back road in my Mustang, the one with the back seat still bearing a quiet stain from when our son was conceived. No one would notice it if you didn't know it was there. The man who bought the Stang sure didn't. I traded in for a new stain in a compact computer previously owned by the world's worst coffee drinker. It's not cut out for nighttime joyrides. Radio doesn't work. I take another breath and ignore the inner critic telling me what an asshole I am to think these things. But you can't tell me every new father hasn't felt the same way at one point or another. It doesn't pay to be honest, though. Try playing the everyone's doing it card when the mother of your child asks why you're always up at night. I should have married her like my dad told me. It would put that conversation to bed, but hell if I could commit like that. A baby is one thing, marriage is another. Too much paperwork, too much bullshit if it ends. No clean break like I could make right now. Maybe another time. Chapter 3. 3 nights before I disappear. How long should I expect this insomnia bullshit to last? Those aren't my words. They're Nicole's, uttered right before she fell asleep. She barely made it out of bed today according to the in-laws, but I wouldn't know. I was at work all day getting yelled at for the same things. My boss and Nicole share similar feelings about how the bags under my eyes seem to weigh down on every other part of me too. At least my boss didn't ask me for a cell phone like Nicole did. She's convinced I'm texting with an old girlfriend at night, plotting an escape. Why else would you skip sleep, she said. Can't say I blame her for thinking that way, but she's still a ways off. I don't need another woman in my life, especially now. Awake again at 3 a.m., this time so tired I'm tingling. I poke at the bags with a pair of index fingers. My face seems to sag, they're so heavy. Even so, there's a greater pull leading me to my car keys, to the back door, to the detached garage with the side door latch with that shitty lock, to the glow-in-the-dark button that opens the main garage door, to the compact commuter with the busted radio, to the driver's seat, to the ignition, to freedom. They say driving while exhausted is as bad as getting behind the wheel drunk. That might not be true, but not tonight. Tonight I feel a surge of energy, suck in those bags under my eyes, replace the radio with the live concert in my head, and push down on the gas. It's not like anyone is around at this hour anyway. The police are off waiting for dumb teenagers to break curfew after a fuck and a smoke in the park by the schools. They won't watch for someone like me sneaking through the residential neighborhood under the speed limit. I'll just tell them I work third shift if they pull me over. But the police don't pull me over as I circle the block again and again. I count the street lights, watching them go on and off as I pass by. People say it's a sign of something. They don't know, probably because it's bullshit. Streetlights can flicker on and off by themselves like anything else. The fall breeze skirting in through the windows, on the other hand, feels downright supernatural. There's an electricity to the dry air that shocks my spirit awake, like Dr. Frankenstein jolting his grotesque creation to life. I'm every bit that monster, and I know it, but in this moment I don't care. The sweetness of night is too alluring to think of anything but another lap around the block. I flick the headlights off as I pull into the driveway, telling myself it's for the sake of not disturbing Nicole and the baby asleep in the bedroom. But in the brief second the car illuminates the side of the house, my eyes catch a glimpse of something standing outside the bedroom window. Something small, 2 legs, tiptoes. In a fleeting moment, I convince myself I'm imagining things. Must be the same sort of sleep-deprived hallucinations that registered in a knock at the door the other night. But then again, I stop the car halfway down the driveway and put it in reverse. I repeat my entrance, except this time I leave the headlights on. Nothing. Even more likely than my imagination are trash or raccoons. Both have a habit of blowing in at night. Don't worry much about crime. It's so low here that I bet half my neighborhood doesn't lock doors for the night. We lock ours, though, and I find someone waiting for me after turning the key and stepping inside. "Where have you been?" Nicole says from the bedroom over the top of her baby's erratic crying. A rush of drowsiness sinks into me as I hear her words. "Get in here." I hesitate at first, then follow the light into the bedroom. Nicole sits up with her back against the wall, our distressed son cradled in her arms. Her face is as red as his cheeks as hot, her eyes wet. "Where did he go?" Nicole says. "What are you talking about?" I say in the worst lie I've ever told. The car keys are still in my hand. "Don't play dumb. I heard you pull into the driveway and then stop and back out again like you weren't sure he wanted to come back here," Nicole says. "No, it wasn't like that," I say, stammering. "So you didn't just come in through the back door?" I imagined all of that, Nicole says, and tries in vain to rock the baby in her arms back to sleep. No, I mean I did leave for a little bit in the car, but I backed out because of something else. What, the old girlfriend texted you to say goodnight, Nicole says? You were with her again, weren't you? Just clearing my head, I say as my mouth goes dry. Is this really the person I am now? I'd always joked about deadbeat dads in Nicole's family, using them as a benchmark for what I'd never do. It was so easy to act righteous back then, before the birth of our son. But now, I'm closer to those shitheads than not. Why can't you clear your head in here next to me asleep? All you do is bitch about how you can't sleep, but then you go out for a joyride in the middle of the night? Nicole says, I don't get you anymore. I don't either. I needed time to myself, I say, struggling to come up with each word. Nicole's not satisfied. She says, You're not the most important person in your life now. Your child needs you. I need you. He needed a change in a bottle just now. You weren't there for him. What kind of father is that? I can't even count on you to stay in one spot. At the very least, can you do that for me? For him? Yeah, I want to help. I really do, I say and make an attempt to pick the baby up from Nicole. She jerks him away from me. You already blew your chance to help tonight, Nicole says, and wipes a tear from her cheek. She looks me straight in the eyes. You want to be a father? You need to let him inside your heart first, and I don't think you have. I don't reply. There's no way to excuse away what she's saying. I look out into the living room at the couch and head toward it. Where are you going now? Nicole says. The couch. I earned it, I say. Nicole just about explodes. You don't get it, she says. You're angry. You don't want me sleeping in here, do you? Just go, Nicole says. I can't stand looking at you anymore. The couch isn't built for sleeping, but I can make an successful attempt anyway. I listen to Nicole and the baby drift back to sleep. I swear there's a tapping on the bedroom window, but I write it off as bugs or leaves blowing against the glass. Wouldn't want to risk waking them up to check it out. Chapter 4. Another sleepless night, preceded by a shitty day. My boss sent me home early because I couldn't focus. I didn't argue with them because someone is following me. It's a feeling more than anything. I don't have physical proof, but everywhere I turn I catch a vibe that tells me I'm being watched. On the drive home I monitored every mirror, knowing in my gut one of the cars behind me is paying extra attention to my tail lights. Even as the cars exited and entered the road behind me, my gnawing suspicion remained. It's like a distant song that I can't quite make the words out to, or a shadow with blurry lines in the corner of my vision. I'm not alone. Ever. Every misplaced sound, every unexpected movement, every errant object, every unlikely coincidence, it's all tallied into another creative coal for the furnace of dread. I told Nicole I'm not feeling well and needed to head to bed early. I ended up blowing the time wrapping blankets tighter and tighter across my body, faking sleep until the others found their peace. And even now, awake once more and standing in the kitchen at 3 a.m. in my boxer shorts, eating from a new jar of peanut butter, I feel exposed like I'm naked on TV, the weight of a million eyeballs crushing me into a cube. But then I look around and I see nothing out of the ordinary. No reason to think I'm being watched by anyone except my startled reflection in the glass oval in the front door. From the kitchen, the image and the ordinate designs look almost alien. The dark sockets of my eyes turn completely black, my facial features smoothed over in a disturbingly plain, even soulless expression. I stare long enough that I convince myself someone else is at the door looking in at me through the glass oval. Someone child-sized, standing on the tips of its toes. A crescendo of panic stabs my chest. My better senses take over and I break my gaze. Of course it's my imagination, but I can't shake the feeling that my paranoia is unwarranted. Someone is out there looking in at me, watching, waiting, maybe not through the glass oval, but somewhere. And the more I can't see him or her, the more I feel like a rabbit in a pit of wolves. So I go get the thing I promised Nicole I'd never touch again now that there's an infant in the house. I get a gun. It's hidden in a small safe tucked in the crawl space beneath the basement steps. Nicole told me to get rid of it, and I promised her I would, but I'm not naive despite our safe neighborhood. I justified betraying her wishes on account of protecting my family. When you need a gun, you need a gun. Of course, it wouldn't do much good if I weren't around, seeing as how Nicole still can't navigate stairs, but it's comforting to know the option is there all the same. The gun is a .38 revolver, one of those snub noses you see in the detective movies. Had it all my adult life. Never pulled the trigger or anything. I wonder what to do next. Keep it in my pocket? I'm in my boxer shorts. Slip it into a holster? There isn't one. Check the outside of the house? Yeah, I think so. It helped me relax to know there isn't someone in through the windows, or so I figure. I leave the light on above the stairs and make my way back up. Maybe I'm more committed to my family than I give myself credit for. All these urges to leave, and here I am worried some freak might be looking into the windows, wielding a gun in the name of protecting Nicole and the baby. Maybe I'm paranoid and I'm in for it myself. All this started with me thinking someone was after me, not them. But now that I'm holding the gun in my hands, it's easy to convince myself that it's not true, at least for the moment. What's that saying? Fake it until you make it. Maybe every father has to fake it until they truly feel bonded to their family, at least for the sake of the people counting on them. I don't get far. Someone greets me at the top of the stairs. It's Nicole, and I don't think I've ever seen her as angry. You're disgusting, Nicole says. She speaks in a whisper, as she usually does when she's exceptionally upset. You told me you got rid of that thing. I keep the barrel pointed away from her and say this isn't what it looks like. She braces herself against the wall. With her free hand, she holds the face of her cell phone toward me. I see the numbers 9, 1, and 1 already inputted. All she has to do is press dial to connect. If you want to leave, leave, she says, then looking at the gun in my hand. But don't leave that way. She honestly thinks I'd kill her? Good Lord, what have I become? There's someone, I say, trying to frame it in a way that cools her suspicions. And I think you're losing your mind, Nicole says, still in a whisper that barely throttles her alarm. Either put the gun away or I'm calling the police. I can't allow for either. I'm positive someone is watching us, and I certainly don't want to spend a night in jail. Wait a minute, I can explain, I say, and take a step toward her up the stairs. Take another step, Liam, and I swear you'll never see your son again, she says, this time with the scream that wakes the baby in the bedroom. Hearing the baby cry takes me out of the moment, drawing my attention away from the panic and paranoia, pulling me back into a sense of clarity. Nicole gasps as I slip a thumb against the cylinder. Then I do it. I open the cylinder and let the shells tumble down the stairs. I'm sorry, I say, looking down at my feet. I don't know what I was thinking. Nicole sighs and leans her forehead against the wall. Please, please, please get your shit together. I can't take care of a baby and you at the same time. I spend the rest of the night on the couch, eyes wide open, heart running laps in my chest, cauldron of dread still boiling, wondering if I'll ever sleep again, if the return of the tapping on the bedroom window is anything other than my insomniac imagination, if our son will grow up to make the same mistakes I did, wondering if this will all end well. But I know it won't. The gun may be gone, but my creeping paranoia is alive and well. Nicole let me back into the bedroom, but I only managed a few minutes of deep sleep before coming to again. It's becoming routine. I barely need to watch out for the baby toys and stray bottles and unpacked clothes and unread books and random dishes and blankets, crunchy with puke and various noisemakers hungry for batteries spread out in the living room waiting to send my face to the floor. The baby's not old enough to play with half the toys yet, but Nicole insisted I try to wrap his fingers around a rattle. At least make an effort, she said, and I did, although the baby seemed as into it as me. He felt more like a lead doll come to life than a miniature version of a human being, a fake, a phony, a fraud, a spitting image of his old man. I used to flick on the stove light before fetching the peanut butter from the cupboard, but no more. My hands know right where the jar is next to the maple syrup and boxed rice. The only light in the dark great room comes from the glow of the streetlight illuminating the glass oval of the front door. It hurts to blink my eyes from the insomnia. I let my 1,000-yard stare fall into the contours of the glass oval instead. I remember how foreign my reflection looked before, but now I know to expect it. No surprises there. The pantomime of my face in the glass again melts into something alien. My eyes glimpse back toward the glass oval as I turn from the cupboard. That alien version of my face is still there despite the fact that I moved out of sight. Someone's standing at the front door. I nearly drop the peanut butter as I return it next to the rice. Whoever is at the door is about half my height, as tall as a kid. Reminds me of the person or thing that was standing outside my bedroom window when I pulled in the driveway after my midnight joyride. And just as it did then, it seems to be looking inside, looking at me. I'm just tired. No one is actually at the door. I rub the drowsiness from my eyes and try hard to focus through the fiery irritation burning my pupils. The face is still there. I can't make the features out. They're blurred by the patterns in the glass, but I know now I'm not imagining things. That face is as real as the stains of my white t-shirt. The gun. Get the gun. No, I promised Nicole I wouldn't touch it again. What if she woke up and caught me? I can't risk it. Better go back to bed and forget this happened. My cell phone is in the bedroom anyway, and I can call the police if anyone tries to break in. Besides, whoever this is, if there even is a who out there, is half my size. I stopped lifting weights after the baby came, but I can still lay it down, or so I tell myself. I keep my gaze on the floor and make my way back to the bedroom, trying hard not to look at the front door. I make it only a few steps before something stops my feet and nearly my heart. 2 knocks. For some reason, that spooks me more than the fact some freak is at the door in the middle of the night. 1 knock sounds like an accident. 3 is polite, but 2? 2 is like it's reminding me it can see me. I know it's there, but I don't want to acknowledge it. This is all still in my head, right? A product of too many sleepless nights in a row, right? No, it can't be. I jam my eyelids shut and retrace my steps back into the kitchen. My thoughts drift to luring whatever is outside away from the baby. Opening my eyes once more, I take a look at the front door. The face is gone. But I heard the knocking. Even if I imagined the face, I definitely heard 2 rounds of 2 knocks. Maybe it was a confused bird or a bat or some trash blowing in the wind or anything else. Oh, please let it be anything else. There's a squeaking noise at the back door in the rear of the kitchen. Unlike the front door, the back door lacks a window, but I don't need one to see what's happening. Someone is turning the doorknob. This is not my imagination. I need to call the police. The back door is dead bolted shut, so I'm more worried about getting to the cell phone in the bedroom. I take a quick step into the living room and stop when my eyes meet the glass oval of the front door. The face is back. There are 2 of them now? I rush into the bedroom and turn on the light, riffling through the debris on my nightstand in search of the cell phone, but for the life of me I can't find it. Nicole wakes up and rolls her eyes. What is it this time, she says. Cell phone. Give me your cell phone. There are people outside the house trying to break in, I say between my labored breathing. Nicole seems less than convinced. You said that last night. You didn't get the gun again, did you? No, you don't understand. It was real this time. I heard knocking and watched the doorknob twist and I saw a face at the door. That gets her attention. She hands me her cell phone and I make the call. Since we live right in town, it doesn't take long for the police to show up. They find nothing incriminating other than dirty diapers and the look Nicole gives me. I'm glad you called, but it's probably kids out playing pranks, one of the officers says to me in the driveway. They're like cockroaches, if you don't mind the comparison. They scatter when you turn on the lights. I'm not sure I'm satisfied with the answer, but I nod anyway. Any reason they'd want to pick my house? The officer points at the street and says, It's probably because the street lights are out. These kids, they like messing with people in the dark. Weren't the street lights just on? Otherwise, how I'd see the face in the front door. I don't mention that to the officers. I thank them for the time and think of checking on the baby. If it happens again, give us a call, the officer says. Word of advice, though, whatever you do, don't let them inside. We got some calls about the same issues not long ago. Seeing this, kids will knock on doors late at night, asking for help. The people inside let them in, and all hell breaks loose. Leaves the homeowners pretty shook up. Happened not too long ago to an older couple. They put the house up for sale the next day. Thanks, I wasn't planning on it. Good. Oh, and one more thing the officer says to me before leaving. Get some sleep. You look like the Walking Dead. Back inside, I find Nicole hunched over the bassinet, stroking the sleeping baby's scalp. She looks at me and says, I don't know what you think you saw or heard, but I know one thing. What's that, I say, bracing for the worst. You acted like you actually gave a damn, Nicole says with a smile. Keep it up. I collapse onto my side of the bed. It feels good. I've been expecting the couch. I will, I say, and watch my wife fall asleep. I should have joined her, but every time I felt myself drifting off, something wrenched me back away. Someone is tapping at the window. I flick the light switch above my head and the tapping stops. The 3 of us sleep with the lights on the rest of the night. I get no complaints from my family. Stupid kids. I shouldn't be awake. It's 3 a.m. and for some surprising reason I actually slept for the past 5 hours. In the bedroom, next to Nicole, next to the baby in the bassinet. Things aren't perfect, but they're drifting that way. Nicole says I have a ways to go. I agree. It's still hard to turn into the driveway coming home from work. It's still hard to know my low decibel evenings will only turn up for the baby. It's still hard to look Nicole in the eye and tell her I love her and not expect sex. But it's the anxiety of this new frontier that stirs my eyes open, though. It's that feeling of dread resurfacing in my gut. It's like someone is holding an invisible knife to my throat. I choke as I come to, positive I'm about to die. My arms and legs thrash, sending blankets sliding to the floor. It takes me a moment to realize I'm alive and alone in my panic. Nicole is asleep, but her bunched-up frame curled on the edge of the bed next to the bassinet looks different. I can't place it, though. The room feels off, too, as if it's the first time I've ever been in it. I recognize everything, but the air is foreign like the rotted breeze they circulate into hospital rooms. I'm going to die tonight. The ominous thought hits me so fast it feels like someone else put it there. I must still be half asleep. I know what I saw last night, but the police were probably right about it being kids messing with me. But a piece of me needs assurance all the same, specifically the part that's dozing in the bassinet. I leave the lights off and head into the kitchen. I down some water and stare at the glass oval at the front door like I'm about to put my fist through it. You better not be out there, you sons of bitches. Silence. Good. I break open the peanut butter out of habit. I'm not even hungry, but the sticky stuff acts as a placebo to lure me back to sleep. I drink more water to clear my throat and put the peanut butter away, and that's when I hear it. I spin to face the front door. As sure as the night is dark, there's a face outlined inside the ornate design of the glass oval. I can make out eyes, nose, and a face. Looks about half the height of myself. Forget calling the police. I'm putting a stop to this bullshit right now. I stop against the crimson loom and get halfway before a thought slams into me once again, stopping me in my tracks. I'm going to die tonight. If I open the door, I'm going to die tonight. Closer now, I can make out the finer details of the face. Looks like a girl, maybe 12 or 13, in a hooded sweatshirt. She's stoic as the glass she's looking through, studying me, staring back at her. I don't blink, and neither does she. I don't want to, but my foot takes another step towards the front door. And another. And another. I can't resist. I want to run away. I want to find my cell phone. I want to call the police. I want to get the gun in the basement. But my feet aren't interested in what I want when they need to get me to the door. Even though she can clearly see me inches away, the girl raises her knuckle to the door once again. The angry energy that originally propelled me toward the door melts away. I'm left a quivering mess with shaking hands as I place 2 fingers and a thumb on the deadbolt, wrestling with the urge to twist it into its unlocked position. The girl is insistent, but there's no change in the tempo of her knocking. You'd expect someone in trouble to pick up the pace a bit, but no, she just repeats the action of its malfunctioning buttons on a microwave. I hear Nicole stirring in the bedroom, but I don't think to wake her. I can handle this. I'm supposed to be a father now. The man of the house, right? The protector. I hold my breath, unlock the door, swing it open, and try to ignore the warning ringing in my head. If you open that door, you're going to die tonight. The girl takes a step back as I open the door. I get a good look at her. Blue hooded sweatshirt, long ratty hair, worn out sneakers, jeans that look like they went in and out of 3 thrift shops, and something else that makes me want to slam the door shut. Black eyes. Not black eyes like a bruise after a fight. Not like her eyes are gone. No, something much worse. The whites of her eyes are missing along with any hint of color in her iris. In their place is a pure, deep black color, far darker than the night surrounding her, like 2 holes in reality itself. I don't need more than a second to know they're not some genetic abnormality. Eyes like those don't belong on this planet. I'm going to die tonight, and I can't tell if it's the contrast of her black eyes against her skin, but her face has a sort of plastic pale to it, a hue and texture that seems manufactured, like paper left in the sun plastered onto a doll. It matches the way she took that step backward when I opened the door. Robotic, unnatural, as if she's a marionette hooked to the strings in the sky. Just standing there in the open doorway for those few seconds is too long. I should slam the door, but I don't. Or rather, I can't. A force I can't explain holds me in place to watch the girl open her mouth to talk, the most human thing about her. Just let us inside. This won't take long, the girl says in a flat imitation of a human being. The motion of her lips doesn't match the words coming out of her mouth. Us? In the tension of the moment, I didn't notice the pair of children standing a few feet behind the girl. These 2 are boys, and they seem to share the same shade of unearthly skin. They're younger, maybe 10 at most, and shorter than the girl. One seems to be comforting the other with an arm around the shoulder. Their unseen faces pointed at the ground. I can only guess what their eyes look like. "Let us inside. You have to let us inside," the girl says again. I swallow and manage to croak out a response. "What for?" "Let us use your phone," the girl says. Her body is completely still when she talks. I expect kids to fidget, but not her. "Don't you have a cell phone?" I say. "Let us use yours," she says. I should be overcome with irritation, but fear takes the reins instead. I think that's why I keep talking. I do that when I'm scared. It's easier to deal with something if I can contain it in conversation. "Do you need help?" I say. "If you wait here, I can make the call for you." The girl's head jerks in confusion. I notice she still hasn't blinked. "Just let us inside. This won't take long," she says. "What won't take long?" "You'll see," the girl says, answering my unspoken thought. I frantically mash the door closed and lock it, spinning around and sliding my back down to the floor. I run a hand through my hair and down my face, struggling to come up with an explanation for the encounter. If what I saw didn't come from inside my head, I'm not sure I want one. "Go get the gun, then get the cell phone." I rise to my feet, keeping my eyes away from the front door, although I don't need to look to feel the girl staring at me. My feet nearly trip going down the basement stairs. I'm loud, but for some reason Nicole and the baby don't wake up. "Shit," I say aloud after the crawl space beneath the stairs turned up empty. Nicole must have hidden the gun somewhere else. I don't have time to look. I'll get the cell phone instead. This time it's coming from the back door. I stomp up the basement stairs and ignore the knocking, barreling instead into the bedroom. The kids outside follow me. I hear them rapping on the bedroom window. Nicole and the baby remain asleep as I rip apart the bedroom in search of my phone. No luck. I'll use Nicole's instead. I saw her use it earlier tonight. I search and search, but I can't find it either. In a panic, I shake Nicole's shoulder, trying to wake her up. She might as well be a pile of wood. I glass into the bassinet. The baby is breathing, but he's also passed out. Maybe there's a gas leak. Maybe it's causing me to hallucinate and make everyone else sleep. But then I hear it again. This is no hallucination. Then in unison, on the bedroom window, the back door, and the front door. I slump onto the bedroom floor, squeeze my eyes shut, and cut my ears with my hands. It only makes the kids outside knock even louder. The crescendo grows and grows until it peaks with a rapid, maniacal beat like machine gun fire. I can't take it anymore. I jump to my feet and open my eyes, expecting to see a fist sticking through the busted bedroom window. I'm greeted only by a sudden silence and a raging desire to strangle each of those kids with my bare hands. Wait a minute, am I someone who wants to hurt kids? That's not me, is it? I shelve the moral dilemma. I'm less worried about the creatures outside the house than the ones inside. My eyes spot the face at the front door once again, blankly watching me through the glass oval. I don't bother looking away this time. I make sure she can see my eyes lock with hers as I storm to the door, unlock it, and swing it open with enough force to send a curl of hairs tumbling onto the girl's unearthly face. "What the hell do you want?" I say, sounding every bit as irritated as I feel. To my surprise, the girl and the two boys are positioned exactly as I last saw them. It's like I never left. The girl stares up at me from her blue hooded sweatshirt. The two boys huddle behind her, their faces obscured. If they pounded on the back door and the bedroom window, they got back here in a hurry. Unless there are more than three, the others lurking along the perimeter of the house. "Let us come inside, and let us use your phone," the girl says. Her words come out stilted as if she learned English yesterday, except there's no hint of a foreign accent. Her tone is as dull, as flat as the paint on the walls. "I can't find my phone," I say. "Maybe you already knew that." The girl blinks her black eyes. It's the first sign of humanity on her funeral face. She tilts her head back and looks beyond me into the house, into the open bedroom door. "Look, I don't know what you came from or what you want, but it's very late and I don't have a phone. Try going down the street to the gas station," I say, and block the girl's view with my body. The girl looks back at me and says, Do you have a baby? We want to see the baby. Let us inside." I can't hold it in anymore. "Why don't you get the fuck away from here before I break you in half?" I say, barely able to restrain myself from doing exactly that. Even colder than before, but with a hint of menace, the girl says, "We're not leaving until you let us inside." I don't know why, but I step aside and let the girl in. In the moment, maybe I did to block my instincts from using my fists, but as soon as I do it, I know I didn't choose the lesser of two evils. Her feet barely move as she practically floats through the doorway. It reminds me of a character in a movie projected onto a bedsheet come to life. and when she closes the door behind me and looks at me with those black eyes buried inside that horrific face inside my own home, with sheets of skin flaking away to make room for the creases of her dismal smile, with clothes that smell of mold, with hands digging for something inside the sweated shirt, I'm left a crater of a man. She sucks the fight right out of me. I collapsed against the couch in the living room, panting from fight. Do you have a baby? The black-eyed girl says and pulls out a pair of metal scissors. What? I say between heavy breaths, my vision narrowing. We want to see the baby, the girl says and walks toward the bedroom door. Get up! Stop her! Do something! I struggle to lift myself off the edge of the couch, but it's no use. An invisible force wraps itself around my chest and neck. I can barely breathe. All I can do is watch the girl slip inside the bedroom, the pair of scissors flickering in what little light there is in the house, the door shutting behind her on its own accord. My breath returns as soon as she's out of sight. I suck in gulps of air and spring toward the bedroom door. It won't open no matter how hard I throw myself against it or crank on the knob. Nicole! I scream. Nicole! Hearing no response, I hold my ear against the door and listen. Silence. Sweat stings my eyes as I press harder in a vain attempt to hear what's happening on the other side. The sudden wailing of the baby mangles the silence. I've heard him cry plenty of times before, but this is something much worse. I kick at the door as hard as I can, but it's no use. All that struggling only makes the agony of hearing the baby cry even worse. I wonder why Nicole isn't reacting, but I get my answer in the cacophony of kicking against the mattress. I picture the black-eyed girl holding her down while putting the scissors to the baby. I'm getting into that room or I'll die trying. If I can't get through the bedroom door, I'll come in through the outside. I race to the back door in the kitchen, but it's as immovable as the one in the bedroom. That leaves the front door with the two boys outside. To my surprise, or maybe not, the front door opens with any trouble. I find the two boys still huddled together. One of them looks up at me, his eyes and face as disquieting as the girl's. My brother needs help, he says to me, his cadence disjointed. I should be running around to the bedroom window, but his words freeze my feet. I can't help you, I say, still stuck in my place. Please, mister, he's hurt bad, the boy said. His words ring hollow, lacking the sort of distress you'd expect to hear. Won't you look at him, please? The street light planted in the sidewalk behind them flickers for the last time and dies. The boys disappear under the shroud of night, and I feel my feet come back to life. I sprint towards the bedroom window. The blind obscure what's happening inside, although I can see a pale glow peek through the panels. It's too quiet. I wonder whether the black-eyed girl left, but the baby soon reminds me of her presence. He wails like his life depends on someone hearing him. And maybe it does. I don't feel the pain of glass splinters drilling into my fist as I pound on the glass. I scream Nicole's name from it until it's indecipherable from my heavy breathing. But try as I might, the window only gives in enough to turn my hand a darker shade of red. With the baby still crying to peel paint from the walls, I try going back inside through the back door. No luck, it's locked. Same with the front door. The two boys from before remain missing in the night. It's a similar story at the neighbor's home. I stamp bloody handprints onto the doors, but no one answers. Not a single light is on in any of the houses. The car! Go get help! I rush down the driveway to my parked car, hoping I forgot to lock the doors. Thank goodness I did. I reach for the keys in my pockets, but I'm still dressed for bed and the keys are in the house. That's when I notice the outlines of two kids walking down the driveway toward me. There's a lug wrench under the driver's side seat. My bleeding hand finds it right where I left it. I hop out of the car thinking I'll either crack the kids' skulls or pummel my way through the bedroom window. What are you doing? The first boy says. Can't you see my brother is already hurt? I see the first boy's arm around the second shoulders. Their bodies sag and drag like wounded soldiers retreating from a battlefield. Go away, I say, and head toward the house. Wait, the first boy says. Once again I find myself unable to move as they come near me. My pulse prepares my body for swinging the lug wrench, but it's a false alarm. I can't do anything but stare into the black eyes of the first boy. Even in the night I can tell they're honed onto mine. You weren't going to hurt us, were you? The first boy says. His brother's face still hangs toward the ground out of sight. My brother. I might if you don't get the hell away from me, I say, cutting him off, my head more focused on the crying coming from inside the house. Won't you look at him, please? Fuck you. Please? It's clear they won't release whatever hold they have on my body until I agree to them. Fine, I say. What's wrong with your brother? The first boy nudges the second. With a weak shrug, the second boy looks up at me. What in the... I'm struggling to show what I'm seeing. Something clawed out the second boy's eyes. In their place is a gooey black crust that runs from the empty sockets down the top of his mouth. Wisps of tears fight to soak through the flesh, healing, forming soggy streaks that cascade across his cheek. He's hurt really bad. Can't you help him? The first boy says. What happened to him? I say. Don't you know? The first boy asks, like I should already have the answer. The second boy extends a probing hand toward me, trying to take his in mine. No, of course not. I am suddenly aware that I have control over my body again. I give the lung wrench a squint. You're not going to hurt us, are you? The first boy says. I skip the end of the conversation and run towards the window. The baby inside screams like a siren. I raise the lug wrench above my head. Dad's coming, baby. Hold on. The window does not break after I throw the lug wrench at it. The tool bounces from the glass and onto the lawn, like if I had just hit plastic. I turn to pick the tool up, taking note that the two eyes behind me only moments ago are missing. My eyes lead to the back door, now swinging open. There's no time to question things. The inside of the house is as I left it, with one exception. Nothing feels original. Everything feels like a recreation. It's the small differences that register in the subconscious, the angles of the counters, the splinters in the doorway, the position of the pots in the sink, the brand names of the cereal boxes on top of the fridge, the distinct smell of the old lumber skeletons in the wall. Nicole? I ask. Silence. I wrap my hands tighter around the lug wrench, but end up making a fist instead. The lug wrench is gone. Nicole? I say again. I step into the living room, keeping an eye on the glass oval at the front door. It's like time paused for this moment. The silent house doesn't so much as creak under my footsteps. My feet reach the perimeter of the glow, and I crane my neck to peer inside the bedroom. The light reveals an empty room. That can't be right. I hold my breath and step into the glow. My skin tingles where the light touches it, but I can see the bedroom isn't empty after all. In the center sits the bassinet with the black-eyed girl standing beside it, the glow washing out the rest of the room's features. Nicole is gone along with the bed. The baby's cries had me worried, but his silence is even worse. The girl's left hand rests inside the quiet bassinet. Her right hand holds scissors dripping something onto the floor. The sight is deafening. I collapse to my knees. No Nicole. No baby. No life. Why are you doing this? I say as I look up at the black-eyed girl. She returns my question with one of her own. Without the faintest suggestion of emotion, she looks down at the baby and says, What was his name? What did you do to him? I say, overcome with despair. Don't you know? She says. Why would I know? Then the glow disappears, replaced by darkness as if it has her eyes, deep enough for me to fall into forever. I open my eyes to the sound of someone at the door. I glance at the digital clock on the nightstand next to the Gideon Bible. Noon. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were still in here, the worker says after opening the door. There's an issue with the plumbing on the floor above you, and I want to check for leaks down here. I yawn and stretch from the bed, mumbling a response about the room being fine. And are you okay, sir? The worker says before leaving. I catch a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror next to the bed. Now I understand the question. Blood from my hand dried into a white crust over the sheets. The worker takes my advice about minding his own business. Somewhere between rinse and repeat in the shower, I'm struck by an unexpected thought. What the hell am I doing in a hotel room? How did I get here? Stepping out of the shower, I draw off and mentally retrace my last steps. The last thing before waking up here is a face at the front door home. No memories of driving to the hotel. And which hotel is this? I check a sign about fire evacuation posted on the floor. I'm in a hotel 2 towns from where I live. Did I drive here? My keys rest on a chest of drawers. Nothing's here. Nothing but the clothes on my back, or on the floor in this case. I tug my clothes back on, feeling the dampness of sweat chill my skin. There's a weight in the pockets. I pull out my cell phone and wallet. No missed calls, credit cards, and cash aren't missing either. Holding the cell phone in my hand triggers a memory. Something about kids, scissors, glowing light, and the pervasive feeling that I'm going to die tonight. Everything comes rushing back. Nicole doesn't pick up after I dial her number. I don't even bother checking out of the hotel. I rush straight to my car and gun it home. I'm expecting police type when I pull into the driveway, but I see none. I enter through the back door and into the kitchen. Nicole looks up at me from the couch in the living room, her face swollen from crying. I'm overjoyed at the sight of her, but I don't hear any signs of the baby. Panic bites down on my chest. Is Jack okay? I say, thinking of the black-eyed girl holding the scissors over the bassinet. It's been a while since I've called him by his actual name instead of the baby. He's napping, Nicole says as I take a seat next to her. What about you, I say. Nicole looks at me with wet eyes. What happened last night? I'm at a loss for an explanation myself. I don't know. Do you remember those kids? What happened after the girl came in the bathroom? You left us. I can't believe you left us. No, I didn't leave. I stayed. I really did. I don't understand. I don't either, I say, but I pull her close. But I'm never going to leave you two. Ever. With my mind made up, things at home improve. We spend every chance we can together, and Jack seems to be all the better for it. Healthy, happy, all of us. We make it official in the court 2 months later. We don't talk about what happened the night I disappeared, and I'm still at a loss as to what happens. I tried to file a police report, but they told me to stop wasting their time with made-up stories about black-eyed children. In the years to come, the incident becomes a relic of someone else's life, not the one we're living. But late at night, when I can't sleep, I get up to drown my insomnia in peanut butter and stare at the glass oval in the front door. I swear sometimes I can see a face looking back at me. I dismiss it as my imagination, but I can't help but wonder when the street lights flicker. And on other nights, when things between Nicole and I aren't going so well, or Jackie's testing my patience, I stare at the ceiling and feel the electricity of anticipation running up and down my spine. It's like I'm waiting for someone to pay me a visit. Maybe I know whom. The end. Oh, there you guys have it. That was the Black-Eyed Children, or When the Black-Eyed Children Knock. And I hope you guys enjoyed this story. That was a really long story. I am probably late for. Yes, it's time for me to leave. So I will have to say goodbye to you guys. And like always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.